Welcome back to my video blog, and we're a few days later than usual because I've been up and down the country, so been from Brighton to launching the Youth Manifesto in London, which had a commitment to 2,000 youth centres across the UK. Was in Birmingham for the BBC's Newsbeat show, which was live on the BBC, and been to York, back to Birmingham again, been to Bristol, Cardiff, and been really inspired basically about the work that you've been doing up and down the country for this general election. In my blog this week, I want to talk about immigration, talk about the environment, and talk about copyright. Now, we had a comment on the YouTube channel thanking us. It was great feedback, actually, thanking us for sticking up for people's rights in terms of the policy on immigration that separates families, because a spouse needs to earn over £18,000 for their partner or family to come to the UK. We've been fighting against this because fundamentally we believe that families should be able to stay together. We were attacked a bit this week by The Independent. Now, The Independent was saying that the Green Party were no longer talking about the environment. I think it's kind of funny how you can be branded as a one-issue party for so long and then be told that you're not talking about that issue often enough. But I think what The Independent has overlooked is the fact that our policies recognise that nothing works in isolation. I always imagine it a bit like a pyramid. So you've got the environment at the bottom because you need the environment for water and food for there to be people. And it's people who turn that environment into the goods and services that make business and therefore the economy. Now, by recognising how these things interact with each other, it means that we can make robust policy taking into account that these issues interact. And if you take one of our key policies about renationalising the railways, then that takes into account all these factors. Reducing rail fares by 10%, meaning that more people will use public transport, which has a positive impact on our environment. By making sure that the railways are in public hands and giving us a more efficient railway service. And it actually makes more economic sense for our government to have railway back into public hands, meaning that we've taken into account all of these different issues in our main policies. I've also been talking about copyright a lot this week. I don't know if you've seen it, but it's picking out a policy in our policies for a sustainable future, sustainable society. And it basically says that we believe that copyright should be 14 years. Now, I admit that this is quite ambiguous, but what we're clear about is this means 14 years after the death of the creator. Now, we've been listening to you, and we've been hearing that a lot of people in the industry feel that 14 years isn't long enough. I want to tell you a bit about that policy, the Policies for a Sustainable Society. That's our long-term vision. And you have long-term vision in everything, if it's your career, if it's a business, if it's your personal life. And for us, that long-term vision is important in defining how we're different in politics. And we create that manifesto as a 5-year stepping stone towards achieving that vision. In our manifesto, we also make a commitment that we do want to reduce copyright, because we believe that a reduction in the years of copyright, it's currently 70 years, it opens up opportunity for more creativity, opportunities for people to be creative and stand on the shoulders of giants in what they can produce. So many things actually breach copyright law. You think of Andy Warhol and his Campbell's soup tins, and that would be a breach of copyright, but one of our key parts of our artistic history. What we're clear about is we do want to review this policy because it's clear that it doesn't fit people who work in the industry. But what we're clear is that we're going to remain loyal to our policy making process, which is that our policy is made by its evidence-based policy that's created and debated and discussed and voted on by our members. This will be reviewed at our next conference, and we'll welcome people from the industry to come and have input onto issues around copyright so that we can build on that knowledge and make an educated decision on what we want to do about our copyright law. I hope this has cleared up a lot of issues. I think it's an interesting area because if you look at something like Disney, then they've actually built on the stories of Hans Christian Andersen to create their stories, which doesn't provide, as a result of the 70-year copyright law, doesn't provide the same opportunity for people in the future. And it's clear that this needs revision, and we want to work with you to get the right answer, the right solutions to this problem. I look forward to seeing you next week. We're getting ever closer to the election, so I hope you're excited as I am about what we can achieve, and look forward to seeing you next week.